Hi, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Andrea.
And we're Natural Be Ewe Yarns.
We are doing our sip and stitch today, and
Right.
we'd like to thank you for joining us.
Yes. So we are sipping on some chai lattes.
Jasmine knows how to make this very well.
So cheers. I hope you have something to sip.
And something to stitch?
Yeah.
What are you stitching?
Well, it's Socktober, so I thought I'd finally do my second sock. I had second sock syndrome. But it's because this is such a long leg.
They're for me.
Yeah, and they match your sweater in the background there.
Yes.
So you can have a nice matching outfit. So I'm just on the body of the foot. Is that how you word that? Between the arch and the toe. It's about where I am. Another couple
Inches.
rounds. Yeah, another inch or two before I start my decreases. So
just in time for chilly evenings.
Right. Though we aren't getting them just yet, are we? Chilly evenings.
No, not overly.
The other day I wore the Magnolia cardigan, which is behind us, to the market. And by the time we got to the market, I had to take it off. It was too warm.
Yeah, she didn't get to show it off after all. She left it in the car.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm working on a sweater, and it's knit inside out. So I'm actually going to turn it out the side that's going to show after.
Right.
This is the pattern is the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry, not the crew, the original Weekender pattern. And
It's beautiful.
it's got I'm now working on just the back, and down the front it has slip stitches so that you've got like it looks like a seam running down the front.
Can I help you by holding one edge?
Sure.
Okay.
Can't really see it.
No.
It goes right up the middle.
Right there. Yeah.
But instead of using worsted weight yarn as the pattern asks for, I'm using a DK weight hand painted DK weight yarn from Estelle in
Hair.
This color is called Flamingo, and I've paired it with Cha Cha Cherry. Actually,
No,
I think I'm using raspberry.
They're two very similar shades.
Yes.
But
and
that's
together they've made a color all their own.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Which is I thought it wouldn't be quite as pink. But seems that the pink in the base yarn has made the mohair pinker.
Right. When you look
And I
up
thought
at
it
it
would tone it
closely, there's wonderful bits of orange. Not just the black speckles, which you can see, but like these bursts of orange and red as well as the pink.
But there isn't really any pooling. Like even with the black, you can see that it's just sort of speckled throughout. And I really like the fact that having it reverse stocking net, the colors seem to mix better, like they always do when you're doing what do you call that?
Pearling?
Yeah, the pearl side.
Yeah.
So
the wrong side.
I'm really liking the way it's coming along.
I like the bottom. There's a split
On the seam, yeah. You start at the bottom on this one, and you knit the back cuff first, and it's a little bit longer than the front one. So when you pick up to knit the front one, there's a split.
It's that a lot of shirts have that now, so that it's longer in the back and a more flattering shape to it.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when you knit a thing and both sides are equal, until you block it, you get that like little bit of a ducktail where it pulls up at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be really comfy and
There's
cozy.
advantages and disadvantages to everything.
Is it full sleeves or 3/4?
Well, it depends on how I feel by the time I get to that part.
Okay, why don't we pull out some more of the Eco Paint DK in case
Sure.
someone wants to make
So
a weekender.
I'm using this one, but we've got...
Which would go lovely with either of these two.
Yeah, I think that this one would tone it right down, whereas this one has made it pinker somehow, brighter.
So that's the Flamingo.
Yeah.
That one's such a fall tone.
It's really pretty. It's called Goldfinch. And we actually have gold mohair that could go with that.
Right, but if they wanted to, like, if you want it to pop, I'd go with that. If you want it to be a bit more muted and soft, I'd go with caramel.
Yeah, that would be really nice too. There's so many possibilities. Okay.
What else have we got? My favorite is the one closest to you. It's called Parrot, I believe.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think
that
this is the one that I was kind of debating between flamingo and parrot, and I was going to pair this one with the...
That would be sharp, but if you want to cool it down, go with a purple mohair. I don't know. How does everyone feel about mohair? I love it. And the new the super kid mohair is soft. It's not itchy.
It's
I know
stuck
that
with it. Yeah.
Older mohair
right.
used
Old
to be
mohair
scratchy.
used to be really scratchy.
A bit before my time, but no. I'm kidding. I did have a sweater when I was little that was fuzzy, but it was the most uncomfortable thing to wear, and I wonder now if it had mohair in it.
Probably.
Oh, that one's sharp.
I know. I like this one. It's called Starling.
I think somebody posted in the Yard Adventures Knitting that they're finishing a cardigan, and I think they were using that color.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think this one would go nicely with the purple.
Or the brown again.
Yeah, but it's not quite dry. There's a different mohair that would probably go nicely with this. Actually, I like the purple.
I like the purple too, but the other mohair you dyed is to complement Bordeaux. It's a slightly lighter shade, but just like this. But
it's not quite Bordeaux either.
Oh, well, you're just going to have to wait till that color comes out.
Yeah. And then the last but not least colorway is called Chickadee.
You know, I wasn't so keen on this one when we first got it.
Oh, I like it.
But it sold the best. And I think now that I see the lime green, I can get my mind around why this is a favorite amongst people.
And look, it goes nicely with caramel.
It does.
Because of the browns in it are a nice warm color.
What does the brown look like, the caramel next to the pop of green? I bet that would play out really nice too.
It would.
I love playing with yarn and color. So the Eco...
Aren't you lucky?
The Eco Paint DK is a GOT certified product. We didn't dye it ourselves, but it is hand painted and it is certified organic. So the processes that it went through are good for the environment, as well as being beautiful to work with. But
and you can, of course, hold it all by itself and knit something.
Yeah. Is this the part where we start knitting and then continue to talk, or are we not knitting?
You go ahead. You can start knitting. What are we talking about next? You mentioned the sweater behind us. Shall we go to that?
Well, Camilla Vod. Is it Vad or Vod?
I'm not sure. I think it's Vad.
Okay, Camilla
But if
Vad.
it's Vod, sorry.
I feel like it might be Vod because she's I think it's Norwegian or Dutch.
Oh, okay. So it could be Vod.
It could be. Oh,
sorry.
Look at us butchering her name. Anyway, a wonderful designer who does a series of magnolia sweaters and cardigan patterns in different ways. She is also now
she did
the field work.
Field sweater.
The field sweater?
Yes, and that one's with mohair.
And a mohair along the
yoke. And it looks almost like feathers that come down.
Barley in the field.
Yeah, and some of them come down right. I think that's more like it than it's not the crows in the field. But anyway, and some of the feathers or the wheat field that comes further down, people have used a contrasting color and knit that in, and it's just gorgeous. And I think you can. Didn't you share that pattern?
I shared, because yesterday was the last day of her sale. So
I hope you guys cashed in on it.
I do too. And if you need any help choosing yarn, we are always available.
Yes.
In fact, there's a messenger button on our website in the bottom right corner, the Facebook Messenger icon. And if you click on that, you connect right with us. And you can let us know, like, I'm not sure what goes with this color, but I want to do this pattern and how much yarn do I need? And then, we'll get back to you.
I never really read that pattern to see, but is it mohair throughout the entire sweater? Or is it just the yoke?
Last Thursday. Yeah, last Thursday we had our knit night.
Right.
And Anne from 3 a.m. Knitter was there. She was working on it, and it was just in the yoke, just the stitch.
Right.
At the top, and then it wasn't with mohair. So,
okay, that's what I was hoping you would say, because then if you wanted to just have the green work blend into your sweater, you would use a mohair that matches pretty closely your main color. And if you wanted there to be a contrast, you would need to find a mohair that has a definite contrast. I don't think that's quite right.
That's not quite enough. It's almost like,
I chose the wrong yarn.
You did. You held up quite the wrong one. Like
this being subtle would
soft.
still show up, I think.
Yeah. But you want like a big contrast. We're bringing out more mohair. It's just not
There's
in
there's I think 2 or 3 other colors downstairs that aren't quite dry.
But it was also Shetland Wool Week last week.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK, they have a big festival around it, but we were just like promoting it because it's an interesting sort of week that we didn't know existed until recently.
Right, and while Shetland Wool Week promotes a lot of Fair Isle type patterns, and I think cabled ones too, I'm not sure, but Shetland for sure with a lot of color work. Shetland wool can of course be used in all kinds of different knitting.
An example is right behind us. You did a worsted weight. It wasn't Shetland, it was Topsy yarn.
Yes.
But we recommend to make the magnolia.
The magnolia chunky cardigan.
Yeah, using a worsted weight. And we usually point to the Shetland because it has the fun colors. So
you hold one strand of yarn, worsted weight yarn, with one strand of mohair. This is actually a nice combo.
It is a lovely combo.
And knit the pattern with that rather than with the chunky yarn. Just like I am using a DK weight with a mohair for the weekender sweater in lieu of using an actual, I could make a weekender with just the Shetland wool.
Yeah, and all for all my purple people, I love this shade.
Is actually
called lavender, but it's a bit darker.
What about the other purple color?
The other purple color,
it's called burgundy, right?
Right. Is that what this one is? Yeah, it's burgundy. I love that. Now, if I was going to make a sweater just using this, I think I'd go with this tone. Either this one, or we got Alpine, I believe this is called. Yeah, these 2 colors hold my heart.
But I think that if you put this...
Yeah, you could soften it up.
That would soften it right up.
But I'm saying you don't need to, because you were talking about if you wanted to just make a cardigan or a sweater with the worsted weight. I actually made one last year, just finished it this spring.
Yeah, you did the tin can knits one.
Can I get it? I have to get up.
Get up.
Because the chair's too far away.
There's so many possibilities, and with pairing different weights of yarn or just 2 strands of even the same weight yarn, it increases all of your options. Why don't you put it on real quick?
Well, I was just going to show it off first. It's this very simple pattern by Tin Can Knits.
It's their first knits, or the simple collection.
Was it called the Harvest Cardigan?
Yes.
And I just did it with the Shetland wool. I didn't hold it with anything to soften it. And as an outer garment or a layer, I find that it's not too harsh a wool, that I don't mind the texture against my next skin.
And if something bothered you, you could just wear a t-shirt underneath.
Right.
Right.
So I'm going to pop it on. It's a bit too hot to keep it on today, but I want to show it off. It goes well with so much, but if I was going to knit this again, I of course did it in the olive because I didn't think people would be partial to this color. And it always happens that as soon as you make a sample in any color, that's the color that sells. So we have no more olive left. But this color, I love this color.
Yeah, that's
this
a really
is
nice green. Forest green. What is that? What's
it's called? Alpine.
Alpine.
And there's also cranberry, which I think is very festive.
What's your tea?
Yep, very festive. I think this would be good for the fall as well.
We've got a couple of blues too, right? You didn't bring them all.
I didn't bring them all.
There's a selection of nice colors.
I still have to block this. How bad is that? I finished it in February or March?
I'm wearing the tulip top, which was a year and a half ago, the January knit-along. I haven't blocked it yet.
Yeah, I think at this point we can say it's almost 2 years.
I think it's fine the way it is. I kind of like it. Anyway.
But because it was stocking knit, the edges roll up at the bottom. And
yeah,
that's
so
why
maybe
you
I just need to flat block the edges and I'll be done.
And to do that, you can even just spray it wet and almost put a towel over it to hold it down.
A damp tea towel on top until it's all dried, and then it will usually sit nicer.
Fantastic tip, because I think that it fits nicely. If anything, maybe the arms need to be blocked a little bit.
Right.
But the rest of it is perfect.
And the tulip top is by
Rico.
It's made with fingering weight yarn, and the pattern is available on Ravelry. And it was a cool pattern to use because there's two different variations of it. You can make a cropped, or you can make an A-line, which is what I did.
Yeah.
And I'll just stand up and show you that the patterning is on the side.
I love that, yeah. Mock cable, all the way up to the shoulders.
All along the raglan, and then it continues and goes down the side.
I love it.
Yeah, so
I did a similar one, but with long sleeves or 3/4 length sleeves. And when I began, I thought I was going to do the crop version with the bell sleeves. They had these big billowy sleeves and the tulip pattern all along the edge, along the bottom of the front and back, all the way around. And I didn't do it, and now I kind of regret it, so I think I might do it again.
Well, there you go. What color are you going to do?
I don't know.
This one.
I think that suits me. That tone does suit me, yeah. I also really love, well, this is fun, but this is called Light Bloomer. It's one of our newest shades. It is a lot of fun, but I really want the pattern to stand out, so maybe I want to do like burgundy. This is called Bordeaux. Maybe, I don't know, those both suit me. It's not up for me to decide just yet. The yarn is for the people. Here, you put
How about
back.
that, people?
You put that
She's
back.
leaving the yarn
It's
for you. Hurry up and order it before she changes her mind.
I get itchy fingers. I have to take this off. I'm hot. Not that the sweater's itchy. I'm just hot. I am wearing one of our eco-printed silk scarves. I love them. You don't see.
We had a conversation earlier, and I was like, they're okay, but I'm not overly keen on them.
I think they're amazing.
She loves the silk scarves. I prefer the organic cotton stoles. So
but look at some of the patterns, the leaves that you've got on some of these, and I like how you do it in a whimsical way. They don't look like.
She calls it whimsical when the colors blur a little bit.
Yeah, because it reminds me of an impressionist painting, a watercolor even. Whereas other people want that stamped effect, you have this flow to it that looks very.
Not with all of the leaves. Some of the leaves are very crisp.
That's what I mean.
Which is what it's supposed to be, but it's.
But look at that. It's delicate. That's what it is. It's so delicate. I love it. Here, this one suits you better. I've got it with a pin.
She's pretty much decided I'm wearing.
You're wearing it. It's the last blue one. They all sold. And we're using one of our Atlantic Cuter pins.
Shawl pins. Yeah, I'm going to remove some of this yarn so
why?
people can see.
Yeah. Atlantic.
This is the sea urchin, right?
Right, and I've got in front of me the Celtic one and the sheep.
I think there's a couple more ones.
Oh, there's several more.
Yeah, what we did was we just got in a variety so that.
And they were part of last year's Advent calendar.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a surprise on Christmas Day that you got a shawl pin in the shape of a clamshell.
Yes, and we didn't have any of those for sale. Those were just in the Advent. Anyway, there are other shawl pins, and this year's Advent will have totally different things.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna.
We're so excited. We went to the.
Every year we're like, it can't be the same at all. Completely different, and that kind of makes it hard because there's things that we love, and want to incorporate, but we want to keep it a surprise.
So we went out shopping on Saturday and looked at things and talked to people and picked up a couple of things and arranged for a couple of other things to be put together. And it's funny because there's so many talented people in Nova Scotia and specifically in Pictou County. We belong to Creative Pictou County, and it's just phenomenal, the talent here. But just in our own neighborhood, we went to leave to go to the market, and down the street with his dog comes Chris, our neighbor from behind and to the side.
From Jampy Designs, and he does wonderful woodworking pieces. Yeah. Very intricate, yeah.
And down the other way is Pat, who does the...
Anchored Stitches.
Anchored Stitches.
Is the name of her business, and she does wonderful wall hangings, bookmarks, and also children's clothing, doesn't she?
I'm not sure how much of that she's doing right now.
Right. but very talented lady too.
Yeah, and then 4 blocks away is the River Gallery on Water Street.
Mm-hmm. Vivian runs that, and she's an artist.
And so it's just amazing the talent in
Lots of talent here.
our own neighborhood.
Speaking of talent, Andrea's been at it again, dyeing up a feast of natural color for the eyes. And this is not all the color in the store, but these are the colors that I wanted to pull because I feel like they speak to fall. Everything from your earth tones and like I want to show that one off.
Oh, I really like that.
You know, your earth tones, sort of more muted pastel shades like this beautiful green we haven't had a chance to show off yet. To your more somber tones here. This is called Cabot Cliffs, grays and
I really
greens.
like that one.
Looks lovely with driftwood and chowder. And then we get into our darker jewel tones, which are available both on GOTS.
You didn't mention
and
caribou.
I pointed it out. Caribou is a wonderfully warm color with browns
With
and
caramel
golden
colors
notes.
in it. So
And then that pop of that sort of raspberry red as well.
which that one pairs nicely with
Mm-hmm.
caramel. But we actually live near Caribou Provincial Park.
Yes, a lot of the
And
things.
we go there quite often after we've closed the shop, and we'll sit and watch the tide go out and have a stroll up the beach. So
Ooh, beachcombing is our favorite thing to do.
yeah, we like that.
This house is littered with amazing shells and stones that we've picked up.
And I
on
like
beach.
the colors that you've paired this with. This is sort of a browny gray.
Yeah,
It's called Off the Rocks.
as
And then, is this the last Cosmo?
it is.
But
We
it
sold
went
them
nicely.
all. Okay, last weekend or the weekend before was losing track of time. Was Woolstock East? That was last weekend, right?
Yes.
Yes, we sold all Cosmo at Woolstock East. Actually, this past week we sold all of our evergreen as well. So very popular
It was
colors. this
brand
year.
new color.
I have it here because we haven't mailed it yet, and I just wanted to show it off. But evergreen, we're going to be making a similar shade again. You've got it in the works, but I think we're going to call it something different because it'll be a different dye lot. Maybe Tannenbaum. We'll get ready for Christmas, but aren't those sharp?
Oh, those look good together.
Evergreen and elderberry. So evergreen is no more, but it will be coming back in a similar, very, very similar tone. But right now
That's spruce.
we have spruce, which is nice.
Which is
too.
also really nice. And
Mhm.
that, look, is a segue into...
Yes, but this is on our GOTS.
Oh, where's the
So,
one that's on the...
If we want to stay with the same yarn base, not that you can't pair GOTS with the Echo. This is
Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis, and you can put it between the two and do a fade,
Ooh.
which is really sharp. Let's show off Aurora Borealis in the GOTS side by side because different yarn bases take color
Take the
differently.
color different. And I never know exactly how strong the dye will show on... That's pretty good.
It's very similar there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But if you want to work with the GOTS, then you've got these beautiful shades as well with Wabakimi and Violet Royal, which is different than what we have. See, we have gem tones in both of the bases.
yeah,
but
so
they
you can
differ
get a
little
different look with the same colorways on
Mhm.
different yarn bases. And that's why we carry more than one yarn base in the same weight of yarn. The Echo is primarily because we want people to have the option of being able to make things like socks or mittens, things that need to have a little bit of the recycled nylon in them for durability. And the GOTS is a
fantastic for if you want to knit for someone else and you're not sure if
well,
they'll
I
treat
always,
it right.
maybe you can help me out. I always stumble over how to tell
Well, we
people
always tell them. So if you've watched before, they know. But it is a superwash.
What do you think I'm talking about?
The superwash process.
Right.
Yes. And I'm saying we always harp on about it. So you might already know. But the process is called the Schuler XP method, and it doesn't use chlorine. It doesn't use harsh chemicals. It's a new process that they've patented that uses, I believe, it's salt and oxidization to descale the yarn, and then they only use a polymer resin coating on the parts of the yarn that require it, not the whole thing. So it's machine washable up to 50 washes, and it's
I would
great.
say on a very delicate cycle, hopefully in a garment bag, and definitely don't whip it in the dryer.
Yeah, lay flat to dry. But I think with all of your knit stuff, no matter if you're using somebody else's yarns and they say that they're super wash, I always think it's best to just do a basin with some soak or eucalyptus, leave it for a bit, wring it out and lay it flat.
With our yarns, a pH balanced soap one.
Yeah.
Because pH can shift the colors.
It can.
Not always, but sometimes.
Back to the colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky season, so we do have a lot of orange options, from chowder up here to that one is red fox. Yeah, depending on what you want to do. Those look gorgeous together.
They actually do.
Pair 'em with
They
a
look really
dark,
good together.
A musky brownish gray. As this mellows, sumac turns from gray to a little bit more brown. That's sharp. But for my purple people, we've got Practical Magic,
Which
looks so good. Yes, I love that. I'm always thinking that people are making fade shawls
Jasmine really...
or gradient sweaters.
We've never gotten away from loving the fades.
I love fades. I do. Oh, I love that. Speaking of fades, isn't there a knit along Stephen West, a geo gradient starting?
Yes, but what he's done this time is he wants you to use all tonals rather than anything hand painted or speckled too much, because he really wants the difference in colors to pop. And of course we don't know why, because it's a mystery knit along. But we do have someone that's doing that. We've got that yarn in the mail, right?
Yeah, and it's a green gradient, a green blue. So it goes from having, we noticed it before, a spruce and evergreen go together, but there's a little bit more blue in this one, and then we fade into a darker blue and a lighter blue. But they are done with our Echo base, and I didn't bring them up here. So you're just going to have to imagine it.
Yeah, but you could definitely do a similar thing just with these three. Look.
Yeah, I agree.
And then perhaps put in the Bordeaux or something.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, if anyone wants any help coming up with gradients or fades, we got you covered. We love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put them back with their partners so people know what we think goes together. What do you want to talk about now?
Well, we're going to talk about what's coming up in October, so people can order things on time.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have another knit-along coming up.
Yes. So our Year of Adventurous Knitting, our Facebook group that has that, was primarily started for all the people that had purchased one of our advent calendars last year. And that doesn't mean that if you didn't have an advent calendar, you can't join. We tend to have mini sets. We tend to say knit with us if you need help matching colors with minis that you already have in your stash. We'll help you find that. But we're also trying to show that an advent calendar most definitely can be used for multiple different kinds of projects all year.
Right. It doesn't have to be one big project, though that's fun too.
Yeah, we have a pattern available on Ravelry called the 4-Season Cabin Cloak.
Mm-hmm.
If you do want to do just one project with all of your minis.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a shawl that incorporated, I think, 6.
Yep, the coffee break shawl.
That was in January. That was our first knit along. Knit along number 2 was spring sweater knitting. And we had 2 different patterns knit. One was the Aster Tee.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was the Sprocket sweater. And jumping right into the next one was our Summer of Socks, which had Sprocket socks and a multitude of other ones.
Yeah, we did shorty socks because some people like those for the summer, and we also did an actual gradient in the fondant socks, and so many options.
Quite a few people knit quite a few
I can't believe
socks.
I'm still knitting socks after the summer.
Well, what did you say? Operation Sock Drawer never ends.
Right.
So, And
especially if you knit a pair of socks like you did and just don't end up liking them. Then, well, you just gotta gift them and move on and make yourself another pair.
And somebody just shared a free pattern for a pair of socks yesterday on the Year of Adventurous Knitting. So thank you, Joanne.
Yeah.
That was a really nice pattern, and that's
Free
the kind
pattern until October 8th.
Right.
You still got time to download it.
We had someone that joined us that liked using our 50-gram skeins of sock echo and doing opposites. So that new pattern that Joanne pointed out to everyone is perfect for Barb. But you can go ahead and tell them about the next knit along.
Well, the next knit along we're going to do pieces for the winter months and pieces that hopefully we can get through quickly, because I know people will be starting their Christmas knitting or they're on their sweater knitting.
It's also something that you can make someone for Christmas.
That's what I was getting at.
And you make
Get
different
through it
colors
quickly so that you can make multiples for people for Christmas. It's going to be the In Bloom sweater. Mittens, In Bloom mittens, and this floral headband. So both of them incorporate fingering weight yarn held double with a mohair. And then the idea that each of them have little flowers all over them.
For the leftovers from your minis, or incorporate one mini as the color for all the flowers.
Right.
Now the centers of the flowers on the mittens are formed by making baubles as you knit the mittens, and they're at random, so there's got to be a pattern that tells you when to do that. But then you just do basically very simple stitching. You don't need to know how to embroider. I don't know if you can see.
They can see.
That's just basically doing long and short stitches all the way around the center to form a flower. And on the mittens they run together, right? Flowers. They're like right up against each other, whereas here I've left a spot.
Yes, yeah. They at the base where your cuff is, I think just above that they're bunched together, and then they sort of start to disperse out as you go up the mitten.
Beautiful. It looks like a little field of flowers.
So we wanted to talk about how mohair can change a color. So this one, the underlying tone here is Cosmo. Cosmo, like what you use for your sweater.
This was Cosmo.
And then you used a dark purple, and I don't have a very dark purple mohair. This is the closest I have right now to emphasize that that's the combination of those two shades.
Yeah, so it's really rather cool how some spots the purple is darker, and in other spots the darker part of the Cosmo really pops out. But if you had Jasmine knit a sweater that what's it called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The one with the mohair sleeves?
Oh, the diaphanous raglan.
Yes, and she used color. Where's the mohair?
These shades.
She used these two colors, and so this keeps the color true even when you're holding the two double. If you use a lighter mohair on a dark color, that one would be good. It will lighten it right up. So you can lighten it, stay the same, or darken it with whatever you decide to pair it with. And that's really, really interesting and can totally change the color.
And the thing about this one, because your tonals vary in different shades of light or dark red, say with the Cosmo underneath, and same with the mohair, you end up looking like it's this sort of marled effect with the different bursts of color all around. It's very subtle, but it's very gorgeous.
And the really cool thing is that it's done because of both of the different yarns, not just the one. Yeah, and I think that's what makes the hand-dyed mohair so nice.
Yeah.
Is that it isn't just one flat color. It can give it character and personality just with whatever you pair it with.
So I didn't look at this pattern, but do you know how much yarn it called for?
I think you can get away with not a mini, but you'd need
I'm saying if they did the mittens,
yes,
could they use that same yarn to do the headband, or do you need
probably
2 skeins of each?
Well, look, we did mittens and a hat for the Call Me Cozy.
Yes.
So you should be able to do mittens and a headband.
Exactly. So I guess it comes down to choosing your color. More mohair is coming out later this week. and matching it with the fingering you want to use, and then getting your minis ready for your fancy flower.
Right, and I think that as demonstrated on the headband, you don't have to have the flowers blend in by using the same color. This is other fingering weight from the advent calendar that I use to make the flowers.
Yeah, they can pop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the mittens originally, the in bloom mittens, were knit on a sort of golden color, right?
Right.
And then the flowers on them were also golden. But if I took, say, a purple...
that would be nice.
A purple
or
mini...
even this. Make the flowers just slightly different.
Yeah, so that they stand out.
Right. And those of you that had the advent calendar can use a mini to make the color really pop.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm going to do a neutral base, whether it's light or dark, like a Bordeaux or a dark blue. And then all my different flowers are going to be different minis, which means I'll have some left over, of course, but then I can have purple flowers and red flowers and yellow flowers, and it'll be like...
And I think that if you have more than one color if you have more than one color of either of them, the other one will change the other yarn and make it look like you've used a totally different color.
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm not going to do that. I want my base to be to be more neutral so that I can use all my favorite pops of color as the flowers.
Right, but I'm saying you don't need to have a set. You can make the mittens in one color and the headband in another,
okay.
and potentially even an extra headband or two, depending on how much yarn you have left over,
Okay.
if you swap out your one or the other of these two.
All right.
It should be fun. Because part of it is like you can knit for yourself, but Christmas is coming and you may want to knit for someone else.
So I think that will start at the end of October.
The third,
because
fourth Wednesday.
Because we've got a festival that we have to do before
on the 21st.
Before we can launch the knitalong.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be the Wednesday after the 21st, so the 22nd.
Well, don't worry too much about the date.
The 25th, right now. I think it is.
I was going to say, don't worry too much about the date right now.
Jasmine
we'll announce it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jasmine will do a post. It is coming for sure. So order your yarn before the colorways are gone. Or wait a few days and we'll see the other colorways.
Yeah, but okay. You've completely confused me.
Of course.
Of course you have.
I'm a confusing person.
All right. Anything else we need to
like
touch on today?
one.
I do like that one too.
With this.
Late bloomer was sort of an ode to our garden because
everything bloomed late.
Yeah, September. Everything started blooming around September. So
but isn't that a nice combo?
That's a gorgeous combo. And of course, people could go, if they like pink more than purple, they could turn it more pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can really brighten it up.
Yeah.
Because that goes too.
Mm-hmm. And you've got about 3 more shades of mohair coming out.
Yes.
So there's things to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
You've managed to pile all the yarn in front of you.
I love it. It's my yarn. You picked that color. You can have that.
Okay, thanks. Anyhow, I guess I'm going to pop that over here. I guess that's us for today.
It is.
Thanks for watching.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
Be natural.
Be you.
Bye.